Welcome to Thursday Reviews. Today we're going to be continuing our review on the iPod Nano 3rd generation. This is part 2. If you'd like to watch part 1, watch last week's episode number 28. We're going to be showing you the extras menu, the settings menu, and some other features that you might not have known about on a Nano. Let's check out the extras menu. First up is clocks. You can basically view what time it is in other places around the world. If you select a time zone, you can add a new one, edit the selected one, or delete it. Yeah, I know, not much to it. Let's check out the calendar now. You can view a large calendar by selecting all calendars. You can scroll through dates with the scroll wheel or push rewind or fast forward to change the month. If you select a date, such as September 20th, which was my birthday, you don't get much. Anyways, the to-dos doesn't do much either. You have to sync it up to iTunes to do anything. Alarms just sets the tone for when an event happens. Contacts doesn't do much on mine, but that's because I don't have any. In the alarms menu, you can create a new alarm or use it as a sleep timer. Let's create an alarm. You have options to turn on or off the alarm, set date and time, tell it when to repeat, play a tone when it goes off, label it, or delete it. Here are the labels. We're going to look at the games now. Here's the ones that came on this iPod. Remember, it's a 3rd generation, so if you have a different version, it might have different games. Let's look at iQuiz. If we start a new game, we get options for what to play. For demonstration purposes, I'm just going to play some Music Quiz 2. Okay, here is the built-in iQuiz game. True. False. True. No, okay, that was not true. The next game on our list is Klondike. It's basically solitaire. Let's start a game to show you how it looks. Finally, we have Vortex. Yes, I've launched this thing over 100 times since the last big reset where I took everything off of here. This is my favorite game by far. I've spent so much time on this game. Let's watch the demo to see how it works. It's similar to a brick breaker game, but in a circular shape. Let's see what this game looks like. But first, let me show you some unique features. First off, in users, you can turn some cheats on. I can do a whole separate video on this if you want. You put password-like things into new usernames. Another cool thing is, in the options menu, you can change the difficulty. Newbie starts at level 1, Rookie starts at level 11, and so on until Expert, which is level 41, and is randomly generated. Anyways, I know you want to see how it looks, so here you go. Alright, let's begin the game. Let the games begin. This is going to be hard to do because I'm looking at the camcorder screen while I'm doing this. So it's going to be a bit interesting doing this and I'm not able to see the click wheel at all. Plus it's been quite a while since I actually played this game. But you can kind of get the basic idea. Get this first level taken care of, maybe. Just one more. That's first level. Next up on our list is notes. You get instructions on how to put notes on this thing. It doesn't let you make them straight from the iPod for some reason, but whatever. Screen lock allows you to set a 4-digit passcode on screen. Finally, the stopwatch is just that, a stopwatch. Click new timer and you're ready to roll. Push play pause to start and stop. Let's get out of extras and move on to settings. About just shows you info about the iPod. Shuffle and repeat are for music. Main menu and music menu allow you to edit the contents of the two menus. Volume limit is something I don't mess with. Backlight allows you to adjust the length of time before the screen dims. Brightness adjusts brightness, pretty self-explanatory. Audiobooks adjusts playback speed of an audiobook. The EQ option changes the way a song sounds to whatever programmed EQ setting you leave it on. This option is also available on iPhones, iPod Touches, and iPads. Sound check neutralizes volume across the songs to make them the same volume. Clicker turns on this sound with a built-in clicker. Date and time sets the date and time. Again, pretty self-explanatory. You can sort contacts, change the language, view legal information, and reset settings to default. That was a lot to cover. So it's time to see what I think about the iPod Nano. Well, for one thing, this thing's pretty small. The screen, just the overall design, it's pretty small. So that is one thing I like about it. I also like that there's tons of features. It's not just for music. You can download photos, videos, podcasts, stuff like that. You can just download a bunch of stuff to it. Another thing I like is there's a lot of compatible audio formats or video formats and things that can be downloaded to this. I do like that it has 3 games and several apps built in. The apps I don't use as much, but I'm sure people have gotten or will get or do get use out of the apps and the games that are built onto this thing. So now let's find out what I don't really like about it. So first, there's no camera, there's no microphone, none of that. The back of this is just iPod. There's not any sort of way to take photos or anything. You have to sync it up to do anything like that. Another thing is there's no built-in speaker. Why is there no built-in speaker? That is a huge downfall. There's a built-in clicker, but no audio. You have to plug in headphones separately, or plug in a speaker into the headphone jack. You have to do it, otherwise there's no sound. I also think the menus on screen are a bit weird, like having to push menu to get out of certain menus. I just think that's weird. I know they couldn't have really done it in any other way, but it just seems a bit confusing and a bit of a learning curve. I also think that you should be able to adjust click wheel sensitivity because it seems really extra sensitive for me, and I just wish there was an option to do it. Maybe I'm getting a little bit too picky with the cons or whatever, but it's just something I wish was a feature on this thing. The last thing, there's no Wi-Fi, there's no Bluetooth, there's nothing like that on here. The only way to download stuff is to sync it directly to your computer and launch iTunes. That's it. That's the only option you get. So do the pros outweigh the cons? I would say that's up to you because, again, this thing is 11 years old and it just doesn't have what modern phones have, what modern devices have. It's basic. And if that's all you really need it for, and if that's all you're going to be using it for, then this is definitely not a bad thing to get. So, would I recommend the iPod Nano 3rd generation? Well, if you don't have one already, I would again just say it's up to you. Everyone, like I said, weighs the pros and the cons differently. However, let me say something. If you want the video camera, the microphone, or an FM radio, there are iPod Nanos that have it. Get an iPod Nano 5th generation instead. It's a little newer and it has those extra features built in. So we'll kind of tone it down a bit. We're going to have outtakes next week. Hope to see you then.